Most people think regret comes from the things they did wrong, the mistakes, the bad choices, the moments they wish they could erase. My name is Daniel Harper, and I'm 82 years old. And the truth I've come to learn, after a long life, is that the heaviest regrets don't come from what we did. They come from the words we never said. When you reach my age, your life starts to feel less like a road ahead and more like a collection of rooms behind you. You walk through them in your memory: old kitchens, front porches, hospital waiting rooms, quiet car rides. And in many of those rooms, there are moments where something important should have been said. I remember one of those moments very clearly. I was 37 years old, standing in the driveway of my parents' house. My father was leaning against his old truck, the same one he'd driven for nearly 20 years. We had just finished arguing. I don't even remember exactly what the argument was about anymore. Something small, something stubborn. He said something that annoyed me. I said something sharper back. My father looked at me for a moment and said, "You've changed, Danny." And instead of asking what he meant, instead of softening the moment, I just shrugged and said, "People do." I got in my car and drove away. That was the last real conversation we ever had. 3 months later, he died suddenly from a heart attack. No warning, just gone. At the funeral, people came up to me and told me stories about him, about how proud he was of me, how he talked about my work, my family, the house I had bought. One man said, "Your father always said you were the one who would go farther than he ever did." I remember standing there thinking something that I've carried with me for 45 years. I never told him I was proud of him, not once. I never said thank you for the long hours he worked when I was a kid, for the way he fixed my bicycle chain every time it slipped, for teaching me how to drive in that same old truck. Those words stayed locked inside me. And once he was gone, they had nowhere left to go. When you're young, you believe there will always be another chance, another conversation, another Sunday dinner, another phone call. But life doesn't work that way. Years later, something similar happened with my younger brother Michael. We had always been close growing up, shared a room for 12 years, fought over the same radio, stole cookies from the same kitchen. But somewhere in our 40s, life got busy. Jobs, children, responsibilities. Small disagreements grew into distance. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud, just a quiet drifting apart. I kept telling myself I should call him. I should invite him over. I should fix whatever had settled between us. But there was always a reason to wait. Next week when things slow down. Next month when work settles. Next holiday when the family gets together. Next. Then one winter morning, my wife walked into the kitchen holding the phone with a look I will never forget. Michael had a stroke during the night. He survived, but he was never the same. His speech was slow, his memory faded, and the easy conversations we once had were gone. I sat beside his hospital bed one afternoon, listening to the machines hum quietly in the room. I wanted to tell him that I missed him, that whatever silly distance had grown between us never mattered to me. But when I tried to say it, the words felt too late. He looked at me and smiled the way he used to when we were kids. And all I could think was how strange it is that the simplest sentences can become the hardest ones to speak. Life gives us thousands of chances to say what matters, but pride gets in the way. Timing gets in the way. Sometimes we simply assume the other person already knows. I assumed my father knew I loved him. I assumed my brother knew I cared, and maybe they did. But knowing something is not the same as hearing it. The older I've grown, the more I've noticed something about silence. Silence has a way of stretching across years. A single quiet moment can echo through decades. I've made mistakes in my life, plenty of them. Bad decisions, wrong turns, things I would certainly change if I could. But none of those mistakes weigh on me the way silence does. Silence leaves unfinished sentences hanging in the air of memory. Now I spend many of my mornings sitting in the same chair by my living room window. The sun comes through the curtains. The house is quiet. And I think about the people who once filled my life with noise and laughter. Some of them are gone now. And when I think about them, I don't remember the arguments or the disagreements nearly as much as I remember the things I wish I had said. I'm proud of you. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. 4 simple sentences that can change a lifetime. At 82 years old, I've learned something that took me far too long to understand. Words feel small when they sit in your mouth, but they become enormous when they stay there forever. If you're listening to me right now, and there is someone in your life you haven't spoken to in a while, someone you care about, someone you've been meaning to call, don't wait the way I did, because one day you may find yourself walking through the quiet rooms of your memory, wishing you had said something that only needed a few seconds to speak.